So the basic skinny today, you can turn around for a sec if you're here. I want to talk about these relative pronouns, that and which. And I think in examining them, you'll become a better writer. You guys have never practiced, do you know? Have you ever done that versus which? It's a kind of a good lesson. Here, I bring it up. Can you just move that recording thing like up to the right? You know, my dream in getting you to writing college level work is having you choose your words one by one as you write. Thank you. I got this new book. Oh, I should have brought it in by my boy David Foster Wallace, and he was asked. I told you by the OED people to do some thinking. So this basically comes from him. So to begin, what I'm going to ask you to do is get out a journal and write 2 or 3 or 4 sentences just about something that happened yesterday, right? Celeste had a big race, as did Ryan. Boys hockey,
Great practice.
great. Okay, boring.
Basketball got their first win.
Basketball won a game, hand slider remains broken, etc. As you write these, this is just a journal. Here's what happened yesterday. Try to use the words that and or, that and which, 2, 3 times, okay? Yep, and then, oh, we're good. So this is, actually, this is the book that I'm going to be quoting from. So here's Wallace in his entry. This is one of several entries. I mentioned that he has an entry about the oxymoronic words, like big. This is his entry about that and which. So he says, there's widespread ignorance about how to use that as a relative pronoun. And 2 common that errors, we're just going to look at one, that which. 2 common that errors are so, I missed it, severe that teachers, editors, and other high-end readers will make unkind judgments about you if you commit them, like giving you a C in the instance of a teacher. Okay, the first of these 2 that errors, we're going to go just to the that which today. So he's talking about that, who, and whom, and we'll get to that vaguely, don't worry. But for today, it's just that which. The first is to use which when you need that. To use which instead of that. Writers who do this usually think that 2 relative pronouns are interchangeable, but that which makes you look smarter. The next sentence is the killer. They aren't, and it doesn't. They aren't interchangeable, and using which when you need that does not make you look smarter. It makes you look dumb. Okay, right? Good. You're with that, right? Well, he hasn't showed you anything except made the argument that people are going to judge you as stupid if you don't know this distinction that we're going to get to. So, this is, again, I'm just quoting, this is the next sentence in his paragraph. For writers, or for students, we could say, the abstract, non-concrete rule that introduces restrictive elements, while which introduces non-restrictive elements, is probably less helpful than it should be, right? I can read it out loud, and you're like, whatever, la 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 la. So we're going to take a little side journey that's more lowbrow and stupid, like I am, than the really smart David Foster Wallace, right? Here are 2 sentences, true to my actual life, if you know me. Well, he doesn't play dobro, but my brother Vince, who lives in Nashville, plays dobro. He wants to. He doesn't actually know. My brother Vince, who lives in Nashville, plays dobro. These differ only in the inclusion of 2 commas. I asked the question, which sentence is correct and why? Trick question. Juliana, I'm not going to let you answer because you know too much grammar. It takes all the fun out of it. Slats.
If you look at the second one, if you read it, my brother Vince plays dobro and take out the middle, it's still a full sentence. So the who lives in Nashville can be considered like unnecessary information. so you need the commas.
Don't you like what she's doing to this? Right? She's breaking it into components and playing with the components. So you're saying you need the commas because you can take that bit out.
He lives in the second one though. That's typo.
Oh yeah, that's a typo. Sorry. Oh, can you back me up? And can you make the inkhorn for the P? Why? Yeah, thank you. In fact, yeah, should be lives, that's a typo. The correct answer to this question, which sentence is correct? Both.
Get out of here.
Both are correct. I know. The actual a more distinguishing question is, which sentence is true of my life and my relationship to my family? Yeah, but in both. Like, I'm lying in both of them.
Your recording thing doesn't
How about if I tell you this? I only have one brother. Oh, it's a mystery. Since I only have one brother, get it, Ryan Maha.
Does that suggest that you have two brothers and sisters?
You're close. If I had two brothers named whatever, if I were a multi-siblinged person, then I'd have to go to the first sentence. Since I'm not, the second sentence is correct. In the first sentence, this who lives in Nashville is necessary to give meaning. I got three brothers. My brother lives in Nashville, plays dobro. My brother lives in Seattle, plays parcheesi. My brother lives in Honolulu, plays ukulele. Right? So it's selecting from a mother, from many brothers. This is the restrict. We're restricting meaning. We're going to get back to that grammatical language that you don't need to know, but that restrictive clause gives you necessary defining information. My brother that does this, as opposed to my other brothers, right? If we go one more, my brother Vince plays dobro, right? And my only brother Vince plays dobro. He also happens to live in Nashville. Not defining information. It's non-restrictive. It's extra. So can you sort of get that and see that it does give meaning? Where often a young scholar in 11th or 12th grade makes a mistake with this is to say, Charles Dickens' novel, comma, Bleak House, comma, is really good. Then you're like, Charles Dickens, who wrote one novel called Bleak, like, I read that and I'm like, ouch. Wrong, that's wrong. And I read it all the time. When I proofread, just to put this in context, when I proofread the comments of my colleagues, teachers don't know this rule. We're into like varsity usage. But you should know it. You're varsity linguists. And it's not that hard. But think about that, right? If your sentence says like, I'm going to tell you that Charles Dickens wrote one book and it was really good. Like, well, you're not ready to go to college yet. You need to figure out how to manage language better. So you give me the half nod on that? Yeah. So we're going to get back to the pronouns, because the distinction between that and which is exactly this distinction. One of them saying, I need this information to define what I'm talking about. One is like, and I'm going to give you some extra information. So back to DFW. I'll quote the beginning of this sentence again. Right? What isn't helpful to you young writers? The abstract rule that introduces restricted elements and which introduces non-restricted. Probably less helpful than the following simple test. If there needs to be a comma before the relative pronoun, he abbreviates, the relative pronoun, you need which. Now the commas, okay, you need which, no comma, that.
But can you still have comma in front of your that?
Occasionally there'll be situations. But not as a relative pronoun. Not as a relative pronoun. So do you want his example?
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for playing along. So this is the end of the excerpt that I'm giving you. We have a massive SUV that we purchased on credit last month. Okay, we have a massive SUV that, which SUV? A massive SUV that we purchased. You need this defining restricted information, therefore you use that in this semicolon, right? Here's great use of the semicolon. I put it in the middle here, but he's saying, weigh these two examples one against another. That's when you deploy the semicolon, right? Here's a second example, the which example. The massive SUV, which we purchased on credit last month, seats us 10 feet above. So here you're getting extra information, non-defining information. You use the pronoun which rather than that. If I were a junior high teacher and I were trying to teach you this rule, I'd say, today, children, we're going to go on a witch hunt. Right? You go back to Wallace's proposition that you guys think it's smarter to use which a lot, and you do, right? You drop a few whiches in the wrong position because you're like, because that's smart. In the same way, in the pronoun world, you use I too much rather than me, right? After assembly, come talk to Jake and I, which is wrong, but it's sort of like to your ear sounds a little smarter. It's not. Okay, I don't know where we're going now. Oh yeah, go to your journals and see. Can I have confirmation that you got one of these usages right? Just go ahead and actually trade up again and judge somebody else.
You can't have a comma then say that.
Not when it's a relative pronoun. No. Oh, Julie. Right one. So that's which oh, okay. Yeah, it's that. Oh, nice. Here's one where some people say the snow which line. That's a mistake. Gameful mistake. That you don't know. Well done, Julie. How we doing? To go back to the, well, I'm not going to because I don't know how, but if I went back to the first slide, I'd say, you'll learn this lesson. You'll learn this lesson. What I'd ask is that in the coming weeks, as you use these relative pronouns, they introduce dependent clauses. As you write that in which, just if it slows you down and you're like, I have to pick that. That's such a healthy thing for you as a writer. Say, hang on, I need to select the appropriate word. That's going to make you, that process will make you stronger. So, okay, can I finish with like even geekier? You guys know the way I discovered this awesome guy named Foster Wallace is because he reviewed this book, Garner's Modern American Usage. And Garner, even way geekier about usage than Wallace. Would he have anything to say about the that versus which debate?
Probably.
I think so. In fact, like 5 pages but of dictionary. But I'm just going to give you a little bit. That. He's going to go on and on about that, but his first entry, A, is that and which. You'll encounter 2 schools of thought on this point, says Garner. First are those who don't care about any distinction between these words, who think that which is more formal than that, and who point to many historical examples of copious whiches. It pains me somewhat that another one of my favorite writers, George Orwell, of Shooting an Elephant fame, he doesn't obey this rule. I know, he's a Brit and he got shot in the neck, so we'll forgive him. But that would be the first, like, those who don't care and point out many historical examples of copious whiches. That's the first school. They say that modern usage is a muddle. Second are those who insist that both words have useful functions that ought to be separated and who observe the distinction rigorously in their own writing. They view departures from this distinction as mistakes. His next sentence is my fave. Before reading any further, you ought to know something more about these 2 groups. Those in the first probably don't write very well. Those in the second just might. Got that right. So we have what, half an hour? Yeah? We have half an hour left in class? We get out at, it's 11:05, right? In this ends.
10 minutes. Or, like now.
So half an hour.
Started, it was 45 minutes.
Need a full sentence. Everyone's like, it started at.
Hang on, I'll settle
It
this.
started at 9:55. So 5 minutes. It's been 40 minutes. We have 5 more minutes.
Thank you. Oh, you are the joy of my days. Confirmation, Peter Saunders?
Well, hang on. I can't really see it too well. This class ends at 10:40.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
All right.
Point Celeste.
Well, let me tell you the important thing, and then we'll try to use 3 minutes productively. I want to switch your homework for tonight. We're careening toward Tuesday at 4:30, when the fan is running and the poop is in the air. Right? That's the contest. The poetry, the class-wide poetry contest is 4:30 Tuesday in the chapel, and this is real. And none of you have memorized your poems, right? So your homework is to write. Miss Hood. Some days not that much productive happens. So I'm shifting your homework. Memorize your poem. That's your homework. Don't write about it. Memorize your poem. So right now, if you have this capability, get out your fonted poem. Get it in front of you somehow.
But we're not presenting it Tuesday.
Tuesday's the contest
Within the class or the whole thing?
within the class. Okay, good. Once you have your fonted poem in front of you, here's how we play the game. You give your fonted poem to somebody else, and they, in an exaggerated manner, read it to you, as if they have become the actress and you the director, and you're like, this is what you're telling me to do, and see how it comes out. And if it comes out crappy, then you need to think about refonting, or just rethinking how you present a poem. So let's just listen to Peter do this with Julie's poem. Would you?
Okay. Well, alright, hang on.
No, you gotta read it cold.
Okay. I see you shuffle up Washington Street.
Good, right? So far, that's good.
Continue?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Whenever I am driving much too fast, you shoving bug. Sorry, I saw it with like British accent.
Okay.
Jaw like a loaf, hands in your pockets and a smoke dangling slack from the slit of your pumpkin mouth.
Okay, so you get the idea? So read somebody's to her. And we're one player short. So oh, I love this whole when I cease before my pen has my teeth rain. Before high, before high pilot hooks hold like harder, ripens rain. When I behold on the night star face, huge cloudy symbols of romance that I may never live to trace the shadows of the magic hands of when I feel never no relish like love than on the shore. Why is paradise now? Where are you going there? Someday, love and faith, not on the shadow and reducing tinted glass. I know from now, you have to get ahead. Sidewalks crash. It's crash. But, here, see a hitch in your zombie walk. Yeah. Pretty weird. Ready to recite tomorrow. Practice recitation. We're reciting them tomorrow. We'll practice. You guys, if this is really fun for you, you want to do even more grammar, just tweet me. Tweet you? You have Twitter? I actually have a Twitter account. Okay. So I follow Murakami. So, what's your Twitter name?
Oh, what was it about?
I don't know.
I really love books that you were recording. The book that you're recording, or
This one?
yeah.
Both flesh and not.
Is it right?
I'll come up and I'll loan it to you. It's shorter, it's essays and fragments, because he's dead, right? So they just pulled together some stuff from Andy, because people like me will buy anything with his name on it.